Hi, happy Friday. I hope everyone's having a wonderful day today. Let's get some message cards from the person on your mind and see what they want you to know right now. The person that we have is allow me into your world. So it feels like this person is wanting to build some intimacy with you, not rush things in a physical sense, but there's an interest in getting to know you on a deeper emotional level. Who are you when the world is not looking? Who are you behind closed doors? What are your hopes, your desires, your fears, your longings, unactualized potential inside of you that maybe nobody has understood before, that you've been seeking to kind of bring to the forefront? This person senses that there's almost like a hidden or a secret world inside of you that is deeply intriguing them. There's a lot more to you than the surface appearance would tell as far as they are able to discern at this particular point in time. And so there's a lot of curiosity. They may be spying, watching from afar, thinking about your interactions with one another. In the times in between communicating, it feels like there's a lot of daydreaming at this point in time, thinking back on words that you say. You have this person totally mesmerized, so they're thinking back on gestures that you've made, facial expressions, tone, inflection, and it feels like they're kind of drifting off into a fantasy world that it feels like is almost unconsciously manifesting an opportunity to deepen the bond between the two of you. This is something where it's maybe a relatively newer connection, and it's sort of like, I don't want to rush into things. I want to take things very slow and at a measured pace to make sure we're building this the right way in the right direction. There's a sense of needs to kind of control the outcome in this situation or control the timeline in some sort of way. Their heart space is revealing like a sense of, yeah, it's good to have a plan of action, but also kind of release that need for control and sort of drift into spontaneity as far as you are concerned. And so it feels like what they've experienced of you so far, what they've come to know, this has really turned them on. It's really attracted them, again, for more than just what you're presenting on the surface level. There's a sense of almost like there's a person that hides or is kind of secluded behind the surface level mask, and that's what is really drawing them in at this particular point in time even closer. They also say negative thoughts get us no results. So it feels like this person may normally be very confident, or they were very certain maybe when they approached you at first or when you first started to get to know one another. But the more that they are kind of in your presence or that they learn about you, maybe things that you've shared, this is almost bringing up a layer of intimidation within them that might be very uncharacteristic for them. It's a sense that their normal playbook or the rule book that they utilize with connections, again, that element of kind of wanting to control the outcome in this situation, all of that is sort of crumbling away, and they're being forced outside of their comfort zone, which it feels like is just allowing things to unfold naturally. So they're very intimidated by your energy, by your presence, by the idea of deepening a connection with you, but it's a sense of like, you're a mystery that I want to solve. There seems to be a treasure inside of you that if I play my cards right, if I, go with the flow of this situation, if I ask you to become more vulnerable and lead by example by expressing that vulnerability first, it feels like the type of situation that we could have a very beautiful love story with one another that's unlike anything I've ever known before. So maybe that kind of that fear of the unknown that is making them kind of, as much as they're reading between the lines and sort of thinking back on experiences with you, it's making them question their approach up to this point in time. Have I come on too strong? Have I not said enough? Should I be doing something more in this situation? They also say, I can hear and feel you so strongly. Yeah, so there may be a lot of telepathy going on at this particular point in time, kind of as this person is like thinking back on experiences with you, or even kind of dreaming about the future experiences they want to have with you. A lot of that could be transmitted energetically speaking. The idea of energy flows where attention goes, and even thoughts become things. And so it feels like they are very consciously kind of tapping into your energy within the heart space. And that might even be sort of an invitation on your part if there's a lot that's unspoken, or it's, again, kind of like a newer connection. and neither of you feels comfortable with expressing, certain truths out loud yet, or you're trying to take like a slow and steady approach, there's a sense of like, let's build this from the inside out. Let's develop on some of those subtle layers, those energetic layers. So it feels like this is not a guilty pleasure fantasizing about you. This is actually something that they look forward to. They look forward to their quiet time, to their alone time. They look forward to the hours that they have after having spent time with you to just sort of sit and soak in all of the kind of wonderful nuances of your interactions with one another. It feels like they're trying to stop themselves from pedestalizing you in this situation because they've never met anyone like you. They've never felt anything quite like this. And they may have a tendency to kind of, feel that they need to earn love or, kind of always striving to sort of be the center of attention in other people's worlds, or in some way kind of always present this high valued energy. They may have never been accepted on kind of their off days by people romantically in the past. And so there's a sense of like, I don't want to repeat that same mistake in this situation. That nervousness, they may be getting very tongue-tied when it comes to the idea of like speaking to you, expressing forth some kind of truth. It's a sense of like, I don't want to mess this up. I don't want to fumble this connection. I like what we have going. I want to build upon that. And I want you to be able to kind of know and understand me, both in my confident aspects and also in the places where I'm a little bit uncertain, I'm a little bit unnervous, I'm, twisting my words accidentally and things are coming out wrong. And, it's almost like you make them feel young, you make them feel like a kid again, you make them feel like a teenager with a crush. And so it feels like that is kind of an element of mystery for them as well. Why at this point in my life, and with this particular person, do I feel like I could almost embark in the experience of love as if I've never been hurt before? I also say, I dream of you. Yeah, so this is somebody that dreams of a future with you. They are prioritizing kind of making this connection important, making sure that you understand and recognize that although, they may have options or, the ability to kind of go out and sort of see what else is out there, that there's a sense of they're very singularly focused upon you. They're closing the doors to other options, and it feels like they're wanting to provide you with some kind of reassurances, maybe just in consistency or in a way in which they're getting ready to open up emotionally that lets you know, hey, I only have eyes for you. I'm invested in this. I want to take this further between the two of us. I don't want you to doubt for a minute my level of commitment or kind of what I'm presenting as far as tenderness, consistency, honesty, openness, creativity, as far as romantic gestures. I don't want you to think that I'm out there doing this for everyone. So this may be somebody who's a very loyal person by nature, a very devoted person by nature. That kindness, that devotion, that loyalty may have been taken as weakness in the past. So it feels like rather than kind of just tumbling into this romantic energy, as they may have done in previous situations, and it moved quickly, and then they were kind of left at a loss when the object of their affection kind of, found someone else, or the novelty of this person wore off. There's a sense of like, I'm taking the slow and steady approach in this situation. We've got all the time in the world in order to build upon this romance. I want you to get to know all of these layers of me, the softness, the strength, the courage and the uncertainty within. And so it feels like you in many ways have been positively responding to a variety of efforts on their part, even times where they might have gotten a little overwhelmed about their feelings and the energy within the situation and kind of pulled back. It's a sense of you have seemed to kind of go with the flow of that. You've understood, or maybe you even opened up and communicated about that. You didn't just pretend as if nothing happened. You called this person out. You stood up to them. You were direct. You questioned it. You brought it to the surface. And it feels like that is very refreshing, as opposed to people they've dealt with in the past that might have just been placating them or, manipulating them even in certain situations. That it's a sense of like, you are a breath of fresh air. You are the type of person that they understand. What you see is what you get. And so building a connection with you, there's a lot of transparency in the situation. They are wanting there to be more transparency here in this situation. And it's a sense of like, I want to build this dream life with you on all levels. You also say, I feel like I'm going in circles. So in terms of that idea of like thinking back on interactions with you, they may be ruminating or kind of berating themselves a little bit about things that they may have said that kind of came out wrong, or something where they had started to lead with confidence and then they fumbled the situation. Times where they haven't put the best foot forward, and there's a sense of you need to get to know that part of them as well that isn't always just calm, cool, and collected, but it feels like they're wanting to show you that even though they have these human aspects to them, that you inspire kind of a higher version of them to come to the surface as well. And so anything that they're kind of putting forth or will be bringing forth, it feels like will be very thoughtful, a lot of consideration and tenderness that they're wanting to show you, a sense of almost building a sense of safety within you. You're free to be yourself in my presence. I'm not going to judge you either way. In fact, I invite and find it to be very refreshing the aspects of you that aren't necessarily put together. When you don't have all the answers, when you're feeling vulnerable, that's the time when they are drawn to you. It feels like at this point, in an almost instinctual way, there's a sense of wanting to provide and protect in this circumstance, which it feels like is letting them know that there's something more here than just situationship, more than just a sexual connection, more than just a physical attraction. There's a sense of a deeper emotional longing for you, a desire to build something on a deep soul level, not just have this be a fleeting connection, but to transcend any kind of limitations or obstacles that are in place currently in order to be able to have something very transcendent with you. They also say you have me lost in my emotions. Yeah, so it feels like the idea, they may be panicking almost, the idea of losing you or fumbling you in a way that they can't recover from, or anything where they are intimidated or they're feeling kind of nervous that has caused them to close off, or even sort of taking a measured approach to this situation where they're trying to control the pace of things. They're trying not to move too quickly, not to reveal too much too soon. All of that is kind of filling them with a sense of, if I exert so much control over something that, romance, love, it's supposed to blossom organically in addition to being a conscious effort on the part of two people. There's a fear on their part that if they try too much to sort of control the outcome of the situation, or to be very measured in their approach, then they're going to miss out on kind of the experience of the magic between the two of you, that you will see this person just as somebody who is really unable to go with the flow. They're very fearful that perhaps you're more of a free-spirited individual and this is more of an intellectual or a practical person, and there's a sense of, I don't want you to think I'm boring. I don't want you to think that entering into a deeper connection with me would mean that you're controlled, you're limited, you're stifled. It's almost like they're having a hard time kind of spreading their wings and flying or with you, alongside you, or allowing the momentum of this situation to carry them up out of that space where they're just dreaming of a future, fantasizing about experiences with you, thinking back in kind of this warm and loving sense of encounters that they've had with you, and to allow all of that to translate into real world activity. It's a sense of crossing that threshold from the things that are internalized to expressing that out, or to allowing themselves to believe that these things can be sustainable, that it's just as important to kind of, build those loving moments to contribute to the nature of a relationship that's also built on kind of practical things, things that make sense, things the two of you have in common, time and space being kind of an excellent ingredient to sort of push a situation in the direction of more of a guarantee of longevity. And so it feels like that's what they've really been focusing on at this particular point in time, kind of self-restraint, self-control in this situation. They're holding back this kind of animal urge to just devour you in this situation and just dive in, just open their heart and express what has been building inside. And so it's a sense of where's that happy medium between kind of maintaining the air of mystique, that calm, cool, collected exterior that they may have been presenting to kind of match a bit of guardedness perhaps that you've demonstrated, or a sense of that you're putting forth the vibe of, you have to earn me. This isn't just free and easy access. You got to really prove what you're bringing to the table here, which is drawing them in further. But then there's a sense of, I want to keep going along that pathway of like, I take a step forward, you take a step forward, and we're moving in tandem with one another. But then there's all this energy that wants to be unleashed from the inside, that there's a sense of like, can I allow myself to do that? Can I allow the romantic within to be known in an open way? I'll say, be patient with me, my love. Yeah, so again, this person is trying to almost like talk themselves outside of the comfort zone, trying to reassure themselves that they're not going to mess up this connection. They're not going to come on too strong. That they are wiser for mistakes that they've made in past connections, or even like earlier chapters in your dealings with one another. If it had been kind of like a rocky start with one another, or there'd been some like hot and cold energy, it feels like they've evaluated all of that and are kind of like taking a different approach, stilling their urge to run or pull back, and trying to just hold their ground and be consistent, even at the times where they feel really nervous or they feel really uncertain, or like, is this too good to be true? Is this going to be in alignment with what this person wants? It seems like we have all this potential, but in reality, like, is this going to pan out? Is this going to work? Is this going to be something where we're both going to be excited about where things are going, where we're both going to feel that this was a wise investment of our time and our energy, to allow the heart space to guide the two of you forward? It feels like is a deep desire on their part, but it requires them sort of letting go of part of their default personality, or just kind of an energy that they have been in, maybe due to some wounding, or even the energy that you're putting forth of like, I've got to earn this person. I really have to prove that I'm different from other suitors that you may have, or people that you've dealt with in the past. You may have let this person know about your history in love, and so they're trying to be like different from other people that might have broken your heart, or used you, took advantage of you, wasted your time, or they're just able to like sense that within. You've been through some things, you've raised your standards, you've worked on yourself, you've gone through an awakening, you've had glow ups, you know what you want, you know who you are, and you're not settling for less than that. And so it's a sense of trying to kind of reach that level of self-assurance alongside you, but then also allowing things, to come forth very naturally and very organically, that have developed, maybe very quickly. And it feels like certainly in a consistent manner since you've been dealing with one another. They also say, secretly, I'm anxious to see you. Yeah, so there's that energy of the nervousness. This is somebody who, they put a lot of importance on kind of the impression that they are giving you. Is this what you want? Am I who you want me to be in this relationship? And so it feels like they're also kind of being mindful of not getting into the aspect of like they're placating, they're people pleasing. It's almost like a fine line between their authenticity and really kind of matching your vibe, matching your frequency, dancing along with you, and yet taking the lead in the situation energetically, emotionally, and actually. And so it's a sense of like, am I doing this right? Is this what you need? Is this what you want? Because this is a sense of somebody who doesn't just want to be another heartbreak for you. They don't want to be somebody you have to heal from. This may be somebody who, again, like envisions a long-term future with you. They may even be kind of mulling over the idea of like, could you be the one? Could you be my forever person? And if so, I want to pull out all the stops as far as like what we each need in order to feel safe and seen and secure and fulfilled. I want to leave no stone unturned in that sense. And so they put a lot of importance on listening, on being receptive, being responsive to you, in order to help to paint a different picture of what love and romance can be from things that you've experienced in the past that might have led to hurt and disappointment, and then also for themselves, so that they're showing up in a different way to hopefully guarantee that they are receiving and experiencing something different as well from you than they've experienced in past disappointments with previous partners. They also say, cutting fake people out of my life. Yeah, so this is somebody that even if they had options when they met you, they've tied up those loose ends, or they're tying up those loose ends in general. This may be somebody who could be getting ready to open up to you about like the romantic history, their dating history, maybe even like their family history, something that it feels like they want to provide you with some more context that isn't supposed to, elicit pity or sympathy out of you, but just sort of like, these are the things that have happened to me that have created certain woundings, so that you can be patient, or you can understand like where they're coming from. It feels like it's somebody who has educated themselves to a certain degree about, these are the patterns that have shown up in my life. These are the things that have shown up routinely within romantic connections that I'm now starting to notice. It's not just an isolated situation, but it's kind of like the same sort of wounding coming through with different people, that it feels like this is somebody who's on some phase of embarking on like a self-discovery journey. They're self-aware. It's a sense of they're the common denominator within situations of disappointment. And so rather than projecting the finger of blame to it's everybody else's fault, this is somebody who's been dedicated to like taking personal responsibility. How can I change myself in order to try and magnetize in situations that will yield different results than what I've experienced up to this point in time in life and in romance? And so it feels like they may be getting ready to share some of that with you, so that you understand that this isn't just somebody who's trying to put on a show. They're trying to impress you, but they're not trying to manipulate you. And so it feels like it's a sense of, I want you to understand that I'm a safe person because I'm self-aware. I don't expect you to think that I'm perfect. I've got things that I'm working on. I see you as wonderful, but I also understand that, you're not perfect. You have things you're working on. So can we find some way to meet in the middle where we're acknowledging one another's wounds and trying our best to endeavor not to, inflict kind of those repeated wounds on one another as people in the past might have done. They also say trigger happy, so unfair. Yeah, so again, this is somebody who is very nervous about kind of like, am I saying everything right? Am I doing everything right? Is this too much? Is it too little? Should I open up more? What do you need me to be? But they don't want to kind of just come forth and sort of ask you for instructions. This is somebody that wants to be very autonomous, very sovereign within this situation. They want you to see them as like a good leader, to trust in sort of their judgment or the direction in which they are trying to kind of maneuver the connection at this particular point in time, because they desire like an equitable partnership with you, but they sense that you may have been in like a hyper independent mode recently or in a long-term sense, and it's like, I want to take that burden off of you. I want you to feel safe to relax into your receptive energy. I want you to know that I'm not just like here to take advantage, but I'm here to help uplift you just in the same ways that you help uplift me. They also say stop questioning our connection. So this could be something where, again, if they kind of had stumbled or fumbled or kind of had done some things that made you think, okay, are they serious about me? Are they coming? Are they going? Like, what's happening within this situation? They want to provide you some kind of reassurance that even though they're nervous, even though they're intimidated, they think the world of you, and they want you to know them as a well-rounded individual. They don't just want to present a facade or a mask, and have that be kind of what you fall in love with, only to be disappointed or surprised later on. So it's almost like they're taking care and taking measures to try and remain present with even the most awkward aspects of themselves, as well as the most put together aspects of themselves, so that you understand they're trying to come to you authentically. They're trying to, create this kind of like dream relationship with you, but to build that upon a very realistic foundation. This is who I am. I want to get to know who you really are. And from that place, I hope that we can, build something that is lasting, that is real, that is fulfilling, and that is true. So those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer those through my Etsy shop, and there's a link to that in the description box of the video. I offer a variety of pre-recorded video readings, written readings, and channeled letters. Turnaround time on everything is 5 to 7 days from the time of purchase. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well.